Have you ever wondered why your groceries, gadgets, or even your favorite sneakers seem to cost more these days? It's not just inflation. Tariffs. Those taxes on imported goods play a big role too. They quietly raise prices on items we use daily, from fresh fruit to smartphones, and you might not even realize how much they're affecting your wallet. So here, you'll learn how tariffs work, why they're used, and how you can adjust your spending to stay ahead. And you will also learn some practical tips that could make a real difference in your budget. All right, let's start with the basics. A tariff is essentially a tax on imported goods. Imagine a country imports cars from another country. The government might place a tariff or tax on each car coming in. This tariff makes the car more expensive, which can serve a few purposes. It might encourage people to buy cars made domestically, or it could be a way for the government to generate revenue. Sounds simple, right? But here's the thing, the real impact of tariffs can ripple far beyond that initial tax. You see, when a business has to pay extra to bring in goods, they usually pass those costs on to consumers. Let's say your favorite brand of sneakers is made overseas, and a new tariff is introduced on imported shoes. That tariff raises the cost for the manufacturer, and in turn, the price tag on those sneakers at your local store probably goes up. Suddenly, a pair of shoes that used to cost $100 might now be $120. And well, you will feel it in your budget. What's more, tariffs can sometimes lead to fewer choices for consumers. Companies might decide it's just too expensive to keep importing certain products, which means fewer options on the shelves. And let's be real, nobody likes seeing their choices shrink, especially when it's something they really love or need. Also, tariffs can also trigger something called a trade war. Imagine two countries placing tariffs on each other's goods in retaliation. One country taxes imported electronics, so the other country responds by taxing agricultural products. It becomes a back-and-forth game, and while governments and businesses negotiate, consumers like you and me often get stuck paying the higher prices. So then, how exactly do tariffs show up in your day-to-day life? Let's think about some examples. Maybe you've noticed that certain fruits at the grocery store are suddenly more expensive. That could be due to tariffs on imported produce. Or perhaps the price of a new washing machine has spiked. That's likely because of tariffs on imported steel or components. Even the cost of a night out, like dining at a restaurant, can creep up if tariffs are increasing the price of imported food or wine. And let's not forget about electronics. Smartphones, laptops, gaming consoles. All these rely on parts or materials that are often sourced internationally. A tariff on one part of the supply chain can snowball, leading to higher prices for the end product. It's not just big-ticket items either. Everyday goods like clothes, toys, and even toiletries can be affected. So then, why do governments use tariffs at all, knowing it can make life more expensive for consumers? Well, there are a few reasons. First, they can protect domestic industries. By making imported goods pricier, governments can encourage people to buy products made locally, supporting local businesses and jobs. Second, tariffs can be a tool for negotiations. One country might impose tariffs as leverage in trade discussions, aiming to secure better deals or concessions. But let's be honest, the results aren't always as straightforward as intended. Sometimes, domestic businesses struggle to meet the increased demand, or they may raise their own prices because there's less competition. Other times, industries relying on imports, think car manufacturers needing specific parts, face higher costs, which can trickle down to consumers. And now, here's a twist you might not have expected. Not all tariffs are bad for everyone. In some cases, they can actually create opportunities. For example, if imported goods become too expensive, local businesses might step in to fill the gap, offering alternatives that weren't available before. This can boost local economies and even spark innovation. But even with those potential benefits, tariffs can still be a burden for many families, especially those on tighter budgets. When the cost of essential goods rises, it leaves less room for saving or spending on other priorities. And over time, these added expenses can really add up. So then, what can you do about it? While you can't control tariffs, you can take steps to minimize their impact. For starters, staying informed about which products are likely to see price hikes can help you budget better. If you know, for example, that tariffs are increasing the cost of electronics, You might plan to buy that new laptop sooner rather than later before prices climb higher. Another strategy is to look for local or alternative brands that aren't as affected by tariffs. Supporting local businesses not only helps you potentially save money, but also keeps more of your spending within the community. And if you're really feeling the pinch, consider adjusting your shopping habits. Bulk buying, couponing, or waiting for sales can make a difference when prices are on the rise. So, next time you hear about tariffs in the news, you'll know they're not just some abstract economic concept. They're part of a system that touches everything from your weekly grocery trip to your tech upgrades. And by understanding how they work, you're in a better position to navigate their effects. So if this talk about tariffs made you rethink some of your own spending habits or gave you a better understanding of tariffs, let me know. What are some price changes you've noticed recently? Drop your experiences in the comments and let's chat about it. And remember, even when things like tariffs feel out of your control, there are always ways to adapt and make the best of the situation. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.